this morning, according to IndianLaw.org, 4 in 5 Indigenous women have experienced violence in their lifetime. And while the rate of crime is high for all populations, murder, rape, and violent crime rates in the Native community are all higher than the national average. And a majority of these victims have experienced violence at the hands of at least one non-Native in their lifetime. Nye Remy has more. Good morning, Nye.
Good morning, Nicholas and Alicia. That is exactly what happened to a woman in our state who was 8 months pregnant when she was abducted from her home and cut with a utility knife or some sort of blade in a tub and was later found in the Red River. Now, according to statistics, this is just one out of many other victims. As the Indigenous Rights Center says, violence against Native women is 10 times higher than the national average, despite Natives making up just 6% of our state's population. She was just a member of the Spirit Lake Sioux tribe, a daughter, and a great friend to many. This is the story of Savanna Lafontaine-Greywind.
For decades, Native American and Alaska Native communities have struggled with high rates of assault, abduction, and murder. Sad and unfortunate for many, Savanna Lafontaine-Greywind, a member of the Spirit Lake Sioux tribe, became a victim at the age of 22.
Brooke Cruz came down to Savannah's parents' apartment and offered her $20 and said she was working on a sewing project.
Cruz was Savannah's neighbor who lived upstairs in this apartment complex, the same one where Lafontaine-Greywind was shoved to the floor, hit unconsciously by Cruz, and taken against her will by Cruz's boyfriend, William Hain. Greywind was later brought upstairs to their apartment to attempt an at-home C-section.
After the property management owners of the apartment building cleaned out the apartment and threw everything in the garbage, people were going through the garbage, like including reporters, and we were told that there was a lot of books on childbirth and C-sections. So that tells us that this lady really knew what she was doing because, you know, the baby survived.
And in 2018, Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Her boyfriend Hain got 20 years with the possibility of parole. And Savanna Greywind's story made our Native community stand up, saying enough is enough, one of them being Ruth Buffalo. Although Savannah's law was signed into law in 2020, Buffalo says there hasn't been enough done to make sure it's properly executed throughout all 50 states. And it's the same with Savannah's law.
There is so much work that needs to be done, and we've been hearing from a lot of community members and leaders across the nation who have voiced their concern regarding Savannah's Act.
One of the purposes of the act is to increase the collection of data related to missing or murdered Indian men, women, and children, regardless of where they reside.
Kind of similar to Savannah's situation, do you think things like this are happening and just not being recorded or not even being looked at?
Yes, I do believe that there is an extreme amount of underreporting in general due to a lot of different factors. And so we have a lot of work to do to make sure that everyone is able to live in a safe and healthy environment. You know, public safety is so important, and funding public safety on tribal lands is also very important. You know, many of us have family members that still reside within tribal lands.
Buffalo says we're basically experiencing a silent crisis with thousands of missing and murdered indigenous people. And she and her other partners are going to continuously fight for the proper help within their tribal lands. I've also reached out to the BIA, but I am still waiting on a response.
Obviously a very sad case, but as we saw, as we reported tonight, there's work being done to make sure that that ongoing work continues to protect as many people as possible.
It's good to bring forward again and learn more and see what's being done.
Absolutely. Nye, thank you very much.